Hi, and welcome to the Uncomfortable Futon with Ezekiel Huerta. Representing the opinion that's always in disagreement with mine is Chester H. Magruder the Third. And representing, as all men know, female fans have a hive mind. So representing the opinions of all women is Samantha Hardin.
Hey.
So, today we are reviewing The Woman Who Fell to Earth, the Doctor Who Series 11 premiere. And just letting you guys know right off the bat, we are going to be discussing spoilers. We're not going to preamble, we're just going to get right into it. And this episode can be summed up in one sentence. Giant Hershey's Kisses are bad for your teeth.
Oh. Yeah. That's pretty good. Yeah. No face palms.
I promised him a face palm.
Come on, that was genius, you know
I
it.
thought it was pretty great.
Okay, so, opening statements.
I would like to say this, first of all. There is no such thing as forced diversity. If you think there is, please stop watching now, you're going to be angry.
Counter-argument, that one Star Trek episode with the two guys with the different sided faces.
Never seen it, but that's off topic. Anyway, there is no such thing as forced diversity. The fact that straight white men are not the center of the earth, or the center of the universe anymore, is not the end of the world. If you believe that forced diversity is a thing, please die so we can go into the glorious rainbow future together. Bye.
Speaking of the end of the world, that is why this episode actually ranks above the 11th hour for me. The 11th hour to me was the best Doctor Who Doctor Incarnation intro story until this episode because of one simple fact. Yes, the 11th hour was punchy. Yes, it introduced the new characters really well. Yes, it had a great action, great monster. But for me, the Doctor saving the planet has gotten just cliche at this point. After saving the planet after saving every planet in the universe 13 and a half times each, it's lost all its dramatic stakes in the show at this point. So having the Doctor focus on saving just one person was the factor that tipped this intro episode and this tipped the scales for this intro episode for me.
Okay, I just thought 11th Hour was funnier, honestly. More fun, I should say. It was punchier. A lot of it has to do, to me, with... I'm not going to say that the new music is bad, but it's clearly using a small ensemble as opposed to a full orchestra, which I personally have a preference for orchestral music. And Murray Gold was a serious talent, and I kind of miss him, honestly. But the new composer's done a really great job. It really does add a new dynamic to the show. I could go on for a really long time about the music. The new theme was actually really interesting.
They didn't show it.
In the end credits.
I missed that because...
Yeah, I missed the end credits.
Yeah,
too.
the end credits used the new theme. It's actually a punchier version of the original theme. It sounds like it samples the original theme.
Alright, I've got to wait till next week. Oh, actually not next week.
Well, we can go on YouTube right after this and check it out.
It sounds really good, honestly. But it's very, very different. Like I said, it definitely samples the original theme, but it doesn't do it in the same way that the 2005 intro did. It's far more electronic and, like I said, it's just a way... I'm going to wind up using the word punchy a lot in this review, but, like, it's just...
How would you feel if we punched you every time you use the word punchy?
Punched.
No,
I would feel
violence,
punched.
no violence. It's okay.
I would definitely feel punched and it would hurt.
How about a nice Hawaiian punch?
Sounds delicious. Can I have some?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
You're Mexican, by the way, so that doesn't really work.
That is true.
So, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with the fact that Murray Gold's amazing, and I was an orchestra kid too, so I love full orchestra, I love all of that. But I think Sugun has done a really great job. I think that it actually really helps bring the fresh, like you said, bring the fresh notes to the show. So I remember I was thinking that watching it last night, I was like, this is so different. Like, this is completely different. And I'm going to say that I agree with you on the point about it being slightly better than 11th Hour. Now, I'm better and favorite are not the same thing.
No.
For instance, 11th Hour has been my favorite for a while. I think Deep Breath edged it out a little bit, not because it's better, just
Deep
because
Breath
it's
was
like,
so bad, though.
I love Deep Breath.
I love Deep Breath.
I love Deep Breath, but I know it's not better.
You
I
are
know it's
incorrect
just
about it
my
being bad.
Specific.
The doctor killed the bad guy after he had already done all the damage.
That's not ever explicitly said,
Yeah, we don't know.
actually.
Okay, well,
He could have committed suicide.
Yeah, well,
I actually
even
think
so,
he did. I think he did. I don't
And I
think
think
he
it
did.
makes more
I don't
sense
think
if he
pushed that.
did with 12's character.
I just think it was tonally all over the place and really slow and plodding.
I mean, fair. It's just there are
I
a few
felt it
things
was
that like
very.
specific.
I felt Deep Breath was very well paced, and I really liked the fact that it was split evenly between a Doctor story and a Clara story because Clara is my favorite companion. Speaking of which, I think every new Doctor episode where it also introduces a new companion, it really needs to get that balance just right. And I think this was a really good example of an episode that does that exactly right.
Let's talk about the companions.
Like all of the stories that introduce a new companion, it tries to split the action between the Doctor and the companion, and I think this one does that very effectively. We start off the episode with something that I'll get back to in a second. Ryan doing a vlog, and small tangent, something that is clearly improved in this season is writers who actually understand how young people interact with technology. Because the vlog felt very real to me. Like it felt like something someone that age would do.
Mm-hmm.
Did anyone actually buy that he's 19, by the way?
Yeah.
I didn't think he was 19. Well,
He's like a month younger than I am.
I mean, I do.
So to quote Linkara, he's a 30-year-old teenager.
He's 26, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I buy he's 19. I mean, there's a lot of room for it, but as they say, black don't crack, so I buy he's 19.
I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it.
I wasn't going to say it. I'm far too white for that.
I caught myself from saying it. Well, not that exact turn of phrase, but the observation, yeah.
But, so we start off with, what's going to be, the central conflict between Ryan and Graham, who are these two...
I really liked. Each one of these companions has a clear-cut story arc set out for them. You know where they're starting from, and you can anticipate where they're going to go.
Which automatically makes them better than Martha.
And automatically makes them better than Clara.
Ooh, listen, don't. You guys don't. Those are my babies. Martha and Clara.
Okay, save the angry Martha rant for off camera. Okay.
No, I'm making my own show for that.
It's not. I don't have a rant. I don't have a rant. It's okay. I've spent. Like I said, I need a shirt that says Defender. So yeah. It's okay.
So we start off with the running. It sets up the tension between Ryan and Graham really early on. Graham is basically. It's established later on in the episode that Ryan was basically raised by his grandmother instead of his mother, and his father was a deadbeat dad, so he's very protective of her, and Graham is her second husband of only 3 years, so there's still a little bit of tension there. Graham has some
You're
sort
not my
of...
real grandpa.
Ryan has some sort of neurological disorder, so the first time we see him, the first time we see him outside of the framing device, he's trying to learn how to ride a bike, and, he has, like I said, this neurological disorder, and he just isn't good at it, and he breaks, gets angry, and throws the bike away, and that...
I've done that. I don't have a disorder, I just suck on bikes.
And bikes hate him.
My bike has a death wish.
So, he throws the bike away, and that is how we get to the aforementioned giant Hershey kiss. So basically a giant touchscreen special effect appears in the sky, and...
As anyone would do.
As anyone would do, he pokes it. That was one of my favorite jokes in the episode, was like...
Why would you just touch it?
I wouldn't do that. I would.
I would, to be fair, I would.
We will get to her, because Jodie Whittaker is definitely a highlight.
I think we should save the Jodie discussion for the end, because that's what people are most interested in seeing.
Correct, but
Or
He
build-up.
he touches the thing and a giant Hershey kiss appears. And everyone knows it's a giant Hershey kiss. Everyone thought of the same joke as soon as they saw it. It's not even the remotest bit threatening, honestly, which I have problems with the alien in this episode, but he's not the main focus, so it doesn't
I think
really...
the fact that the pod isn't ominous is part of the adds to the mystery, because you don't really know what's going on until like 2/3 of the way in the episode. Honestly,
that is true, but like I said, I have problems with the alien. We'll get to that later. But so Ryan immediately does the smart thing. He's not. I think it's really funny that he sees this thing and like he's saying, it's not even the remotest bit threatening. So he takes out his cell phone, puts it to his ear, and goes, "Hi, I think I'd like the police."
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to
Yamsen.
the introduction of Mandip Gill as Yasmin Khan, who is a frustrated police officer. Again, we have a really clear motivation for her.
she's basically Judy Hopps.
Oh my god, yes. Well,
I'm never gonna unsee
I don't know.
that.
I think Judy was. I don't know. Judy.
First
oh,
act's Judy Hopps.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you talking about Judy Hopps? You're talking about Judy Hopps.
Zootopia.
Yeah, Zootopia.
I'm thinking of Judy Hopps, who Judy Hopps was a play on words from
21 Jump Street.
from the 80s, because I love that show. Anyway.
So yeah.
She's Judy Hopps,
That's basically a good way of describing her. She's trying to settle a parking dispute. Wow, Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I didn't hear
That's a really good parallel, actually. So yeah, if you've seen Zootopia, she is Judy Hopps. But for those of you who haven't,
Nope.
For those of you who have not, she is a new police officer. Has endless amounts of confidence in her own talents, probably justified. Obviously very by the book, and she's trying to settle a parking dispute, and manages to settle this dispute of these two ladies who have basically fucked each other over.
And being a British cop, she doesn't automatically shoot people.
God, I wish we were Britain.
Hashtag Black Lives Matter.
So Yasmin is obviously assigned the case of the giant Hershey kiss. And at this point, it's established that Yasmin and Ryan have some sort of...
They went to school
They
together.
went to school together. It's... They never... They're not really going for a romantic thing, I don't think.
No, I don't think so.
It was
either.
a really good, I think, example of how uniforms make you invisible. Because I feel like if he had just seen her in plain clothes, he would have been like, "Ew, I know you.
Oh,
Yasmin.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but yeah, he didn't. He was like, oh, because of
And
uniforms.
we get this.
Yeah,
And we get the same
yeah.
thing later with Grace and
Mhm.
Graham. No wait, yeah, Graham.
Mhm.
They don't recognize her until.
Hi, Ryan's grandmom.
Can we have the sirens on? Anyway, so going back after Ryan threw his bike into the woods, it turned out that Grace and Graham needed to go catch a train, so they go catch a train, and of course the train is attacked by aliens because this is Doctor Who.
And here's the moment that kind of like it's the greatest requires the greatest suspension of disbelief, that the Doctor lands in the train and just gets up and brushes herself off. Like, that was such a Looney Tunes moment right there.
I was fine with this, honestly.
Well, dropping from that height, there's no way the Doctor could have survived that.
She has.
Yeah,
she
you
has
can hand
post-regeneration.
wave it with regeneration.
Ted
and
literally
stuff.
got his hand cut off. We can forgive this.
4 died from a fall of that height.
Yeah, but that was before.
But that was before the regeneration energy set in.
Yeah. So I buy it because she's still like pulsing with it. She's like later on, she's like, I'm burning every inch of me still being stitched together, and I was like, yeah.
And
yeah.
also, it was just funny. It was fun. It was a really fun way to introduce the character, so I am fine with this.
I also really like the.
I like the Looney Tunes-ness of it, but 11 was basically a cartoon character, and he's my favorite Doctor. So.
Yeah.
And 13 has shades of this, but she's more serious, I think.
We'll get to 13 later.
Yeah. So, have I missed anything? So, yeah, the train, something that I think is really great about this episode is that they really do present it as a mystery the entire time. The Doctor's not like, she doesn't they don't walk in and just be like, I know what's going on here. They actually put forth a couple hypotheses. Those hypotheses are proven wrong.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I do have a problem with is that when they finally do reveal what's going on, it's a big exposition sequence that doesn't actually make sense in terms of the villain's motivation.
It does
What, a
kind of
hunt?
Huh?
I like it. I thought, because it's a hunt.
No, well, the hunt makes sense, even if it is like I'm going to get into later. The alien of this episode is incredibly derivative. It's been done a lot. If you've seen the Star Trek DS9 episode, I think it's called Tosk.
Mm.
It's basically the exact same premise, but
in reverse.
True. I don't necessarily dislike the alien's motivation. I just dislike the way they get it across is by the villain literally monologuing about it, which doesn't seem very in character for him.
Well, when you consider the fact that he's a spoiled brat.
Okay, let's get into this actually. So
let me talk because you interrupted me. Considering the fact that he's
character. I would like for us to actually get in and like talk about the alien before we analyze.
Okay.
So basically, what's going on is, this is a hunt. This alien. Oh, what is it called?
Tim Shaw.
No. I'm looking for the name of the species, but I have terrible handwriting is the problem.
It was Sishak or something like that.
I wrote it down, I swear.
Anyway.
So, he lands having sent several weapons ahead of him, which is established to be
Cheating.
a no-no, a cheating thing. The thing is that he was assigned a random human to hunt. And the reason that he was allowed to land on Earth is because Ryan gave him permission by doing the giant touchscreen thing in the sky. And so his race is a standard warrior race number 52687. Like I said, I have problems with the alien because it's so very derivative. It's been done so many times before, but it's not the focus, so it's not that big of an issue. The other issue I have with the alien is the design. It is distinctive, but I don't feel it is distinctive in a positive way. It is very silly. So basically, okay, let me make my case here. So basically, they are a hunt race, and they collect trophies from their victims. In this case, teeth. And the way that they do this is they show him with teeth melted into his face, and it looks like he has popcorn glued to his face. It's incredibly silly. I could never once take the villain seriously.
They could have made the teeth a bit more distinctive on the face. I agree there. I did like the concept of it, though.
And that looked pretty cool.
And I liked his characterization in that he was basically this entitled prince who was willing to cheat to get what he wanted. So that added another... what I really liked about the probe thing... My first theory was that he was a space cop going after this thing. Because the probe was clearly evil the minute you found out it tagged the characters with the DNA bombs. And then I considered the Doctor's theory that they were two factions at war, and so they kept.
I had a moment of excitement being a classic Who fan. I saw the little snaky Bali thing, and I thought maybe this was the Rootons, because I've never seen them displayed in a modern context.
Yeah, I don't think that they would have gone that visually different from what was shown in.
But what was shown in the original series was stupid.
Just a giant pile of green jello, yeah.
So like I kind of felt with the tentacly thing that was what gave it.
Sorry.
So yeah, that. How dare you sit on my coat? He says as he sits all over her dress. So yeah, that obviously didn't pan out. Something that did bother me is I feel that this episode took a really big step back in terms of world building from the previous incarnation of the show. In Graham's line, "There is no such thing as aliens," which
That did seem a little...
That
For a
doesn't-
moment, I considered maybe that this was set before, like an earlier year before all the big events, invasion events. But no, it was clearly set in 2018, so that was a bit of a continuity oopsie-daisy.
And, like, the...
I don't know. I've been spending time, so like, as recently, but in general, I've been spent time around quite a few older people. I don't think that was far-fetched at all.
Yeah, it could have been
Because,
just
like,
old person denial
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly. And conspiracy theories and like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think that was far-fetched.
Could have been
Didn't
like-
at all.
When you think about it, there are probably anti-alien truthers in the Doctor Who universe.
Well, the thing is that Graham wasn't the only one who did it. It was also Carl, who is much younger.
Okay, one thing that, just a minor note, it did seem a little contrived that the guy who lost his sister in the first hunt would have been the one to find the pod.
Also, minor plot hole, how the hell did they get the pod into the truck? If it was freezing. They
Yeah.
didn't appear to have any equipment. It was just 1 minute it's there, next minute it's in the truck.
Yeah.
I did not really
Out
get
of-
how that's a really, really minor CinemaSins
Yeah,
kind of thing, so...
Yeah, just out of the entire planet, once again, it's all in the same location, you know.
Okay, giant Hershey kiss, aliens. Oh, really, really nice touch in terms of the music, going back to that from earlier. When the first time the Doctor appears, when she falls from the sky Looney Tunes style, the Doctor Who theme, the da-da-da-da, it kicks in really hard, and it's great, and I love it, and
Yeah.
it got me so pumped, and I loved it so much.
Yeah. it was great.
That was a beautiful moment, and like the marriage of the visuals and the music, it's why I love film so much. Just
So, the Sonic building scene.
the Sonic is spoons, guys. It's spoons.
I just love that whole montage, the way they did it. It was,
The
it was
Sonic
a lot
is
of
literally
fun.
made of spoons, and I loved it.
One complaint I did have about that scene, and I'm not sure if this is nitpicky or not, or if it's a legitimate criticism of the filming, but they could have made it a bit more clear that the crystal core of the Sonic was taken from the alien ship. They just cut to a quick scene of her opening up a box with crystals in it, and for a moment I thought it was like a suitcase of crystals she had gotten from somewhere.
Which wouldn't make sense.
Yeah,
but-
it didn't make sense. So it took me a while. It wasn't until like when she pulled the alien's homing device out of her pocket that I realized, oh, the core of the Sonic is a piece of his alien ship. So that could have been made a bit more clear.
Overall, I think that's a relatively minor complaint. The
Yeah.
thing is that there a lot of these Doctor's first episodes will strip the Doctor of all of the necessary stuff in order to...
So that they have an in-story justification for the new show writer to build all his own props.
That's not really what I was going for. It's more of a way to show how, like, the new Doctor thinks, or how they're going to overcome the obstacles. And I think this was a really massively clever way of doing that,
Yeah.
is that when
Two-
the Doctor fell out of the TARDIS, they lost all of their things.
Two birds, one stone.
I'm going to use they for now, just because, just to avoid confusion with the Capaldi/Whittaker thing. So, if you have a problem with gender-specific pronouns, again, please go away. I don't care. So, I really liked, I really liked that was a really good chance to show off the Doctor's ingenuity. Like, the 11th Hour also did that incredibly effectively with the Doctor losing the Sonic and having to use Rory's phone. Speaking of phones, one of the funniest things was just such a simple gag. So early in the episode, they have these DNA bombs implanted in their collarbones, and the Doctor like really wants to defuse them, but she doesn't have a Sonic. So she asks for
A cell phone.
she asks for Ryan's phone. She reformats it, which he is very ungrateful about. All my stuff's on there.
Too late!
Not anymore!
When
Yeah.
you think about the fact that he just lost his gran.
Well, no, he hadn't lost her yet.
Oh no, I mean like after.
Mm.
And
He's
he
not
probably had like things I think she'll fix that.
That makes it a little bit more sad. Yeah. So one of the funniest gags of the episode is this incredibly simple thing. I could probably do it myself with After Effects, where she is trying to track down the tentacly thing, and she puts the cell phone against her neck and just whoosh, zooms back. Just like, again, it's such an incredibly simple visual effect, and it's hilarious.
Okay, so
She gets up and says, "That nap did me the world of good."
while we're talking about the story beats in the typical regeneration story, one problem I had was that once again the TARDIS has crashed immediately after the regeneration. Yeah, there was an in-story reason for it, but we've had that with every single regeneration, and even the last time with Capaldi's regeneration, the TARDIS just started crashing for no reason given. It just did it because that's what the writers...
Because no one was steering it was the in-story justification.
Well, he's left the console unattended before, and it's flown on its own.
I think the TARDIS freaks out every time he regenerates, and I think it gets really tired of them deciding to put the TARDIS in flight before they
It
regenerate.
is implied in the... I think it is implied in the early series that regeneration does have something to do with the TARDIS, so I think it is safe to say that the regeneration is a drain not just on the Doctor himself, but also on the TARDIS.
I can imagine that every time she's like, I cannot believe that they've once again decided to engage in flight before regenerating. Great. Great job.
And then she was like, you know what? No, screw you, get out.
Exactly.
So-
we need to have some time apart.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed that we had another crash, but I did like that the regeneration crisis was rather short-lived this time. And by the way, I loved the nose gag. That was great. Oh, this is going to be a very reliable nostril.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked... I totally lost my train of thought.
So, they seem to be setting up a plot arc, and I really hope this is the case.
I hope that this goes for the whole season. I hope
The
that this
entire
is
season, there's going to be no TARDIS, and the entire thing is the search for the TARDIS. It's going to go all,
because every season in New Who, we've had...
it's going to go all Zagreus on us.
But yeah, I think I'm hoping instead of your typical hint of a big bad force in the first episode that gets built up throughout the season and then attacks in the final episode, instead we just have a very simple hunt for the TARDIS story arc this season.
That's kind of what I'm hoping for, because it's just
something fresh and interesting.
It's fresh and interesting. It's been done in the audio plays, but even then there was a semblance of a plot arc of an overarching plot arc that but
Okay, so they're in space right now.
Yeah.
I assume that was the force field protecting them.
Well, you can't survive in space for a few seconds. I have a feeling we're going to have a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy moment where an infinite probability drive picks them up.
Okay. Because I just know that they're going to different times, because we're finally getting a Civil Rights episode this series.
To quote Sir Terry Pratchett, 1,000,000 to 1 odds have the best chance of working out.
Yeah, I thought, because I know that there were set pictures leaked of the TARDIS, and that there were going.
I don't think those
to
are
Civil
official
Rights.
though. So.
Oh no, I haven't seen them. I just,
Yeah, well,
they have an image of a TARDIS, but only the exterior, and I haven't actually seen any set pictures of like the actual prop.
Yeah,
Because that's
one of the things they'd be showing off if they had it.
To plug my YouTube channel, Moonbear Productions, you can Google it. In order to create my TARDIS model that I used for the intro that we are using at the beginning of this very episode, I used those set pictures. Although I couldn't find any good images of the bulb, so I had to BS something. The bulb on top.
Yeah, so we have the exterior.
Modeler.
We know what the exterior TARDIS is going to look like, but I think
80s inspired.
if they had built an interior set, they would have shown it off by now. So I think they're waiting until the end of the season. I mean, they show everything else leading up to a Doctor.
But they didn't leak pictures of Eleven's TARDIS before the Snowmen.
Yeah, they did.
I don't remember this.
I remember when they first showed the publicity photos from him, and I geeked out hardcore because I loved that set so much.
I don't remember this, but okay. Yeah, there haven't been any interior sets, so they're keeping
And the
it very
BBC holds
hush-hush.
nothing back, so I think that's a pretty good sign that we're not going to see the TARDIS till the end of the season.
I do like the idea of just just everything is, they teleport from planet to planet looking for the TARDIS, or like
No,
they're doing a Heathrow thing from a.
Yeah.
You got that reference?
Yes, I did.
Okay. This was a reference to the Doctor that I am currently dressed as, where I'm explaining for the camera though. They had a companion who worked at Heathrow, needed to get to Heathrow, and they kept doing things where it was like, we're in the right place but the wrong time, we're in the wrong time at the right place. That's actually one of my favorite classic series companions. I love Tegan.
She was very
so much
underrated.
fun.
I really loved her dynamic, especially with when Six came on and they were like bickering siblings.
Tegan and Six never.
Oh, I'm thinking Perry. Yeah. Never mind. I always get those two confused. Never mind.
They were.
This is getting edited out.
They had similar strengths. I felt Perry and Tegan, both massively underrated companions, great companions. But I like the idea of this as a story arc where instead of the Davies style, let's just mention a thing and have it eventually be important in some BS way, or the
Moffat did that too.
Moffat did a better job of building it, I felt.
Yeah.
Mostly because Moffat was a better writer. Don't at me. I like the idea of a plot arc where it's more inconsequential. I guess it's.
I really like that Chibnall is shaking things up a little bit, where he's trying some different things.
I like that there's a gang, or a fam.
I really loved it. The co-ed TARDIS, or not TARDIS crew yet, but I really like this co-ed group dynamic. I figured when they announced the female Doctor, we were going to get a co-ed companion situation, because let's look at the possibilities. If it had been a female Doctor with a single female companion, then the BBC probably would have been afraid of alienating the male fan base even more by making the show a chick flick in their eyes. If it had been a female Doctor and a male companion deferring to a woman constantly, again, they would have been afraid of offending the fragile male egos more than they already were.
Which they shouldn't be, because fragile males' egos are shit.
Yeah. So I think a co-ed TARDIS situation just being more inherently interesting, because you have more characters that can bounce off one another. You get the best of both worlds. You can flesh out how you can experiment with how this new female Doctor is going to behave with the companion dynamic.
Also, speaking of the fragile male egos, I really do like that they went just full diversity with this. We've got a woman whose name is literally Yasmin Khan, which implies I believe Mandip Gill is Middle Eastern. I'd have to look that up. Middle Eastern companion, black companion, and a man who's in an interracial marriage. Just went full diversity with this, which is great. I'd like to see more gay.
I think I heard that they said one of the companions is going to turn out to be LGBT.
More gay.
Yeah, I thought it was Ryan, but I'm not sure actually.
Oh, I would love for it to be Ryan. Ryan is cute.
But it's really.
I love you, David.
I just loved Ryan in general. Just.
It was cool to see a companion with a handicap.
Okay, I will. A word of warning for this: if you're gonna watch with subtitles, because they do a much wider variety of accents in this series, which I think is really cool, because Doctor Who is a British series, and it's just kind of nice to see accents representing all of Britain instead of just the standard, the accent that David Tennant used for his first season. It's just kind of nice to see that, post Capaldi we're still branching out farther and farther, and I like that a lot. It's neat to hear all these different accents, but if you're American like we are, it might be a little bit difficult to understand.
I had a hard time understanding Capaldi in his first season, to be completely honest.
Same.
So.
But I watched every episode with subtitles. I tend to watch British shows with subtitles anyway, especially Red Dwarf.
I noticed something. When I watched on my TV, it was hard to understand anybody. But, watching on my computer, it was fine. So I think it also has to do with the balance of the speakers. A lot of the time, I literally think it's biased towards specific accents. So, yeah.
I literally have a job that is...
speakers are racist.
Yeah.
I literally have a job that is listening to people and repeating what they say. And
he's a professional parrot.
not inaccurate, but I have trouble parsing accents a lot of the time anyway, so if you're like me, watch with subtitles. But like I said, it's really cool to see, like, how diversified the cast is, how they're not only different races, but also from different regions of England and have different accents. It's cool, and I really like it. Glorious Rainbow Future for the win.
Okay, so before we talk about the Doctor, let's frustrate the people waiting for those for that opinion even more and talk about her costume.
Okay, so I saw as soon as first of all we've seen the costume for ages.
Yeah, we've all debated that. I just have an opinion about how she got it, but go ahead.
I saw as soon as like she was doing when they were in the thrift shop, I was like, she is thrifting her costume. She is our queen.
Here's the observation I have about that. 11th Doctor, 10th Doctor, super thrift store friendly costumes.
Mm-hmm.
12th Doctor, not quite as much, but you can if you get really, really lucky. 9th Doctor, again, eventually you'll find a leather peacoat in a thrift store. It's not impossible to find. The new Who incarnation of the Doctor with the most costumey costume, the most bright and colorful outfit with the most specific kind of coat, is the Doctor you see in story getting that out of the thrift store.
See, she got lucky.
But the thing is, you
She got lucky.
do find one of a kind pieces. Like
you
saying in this
definitely
universe,
can.
this is like a one thing, and she's like, I'm going to take this random thing.
You definitely can, but that's the key word, one of a kind.
Mm-hmm.
No one's gonna find.
She got thrift store lucky. It happens to all of us at least once.
Yeah, but no one else is ever going to find
Also,
a trench coat with
also,
blood and rainbow
also,
pinstripe
also,
lining in a thrift
one of the
store.
lines that I loved, because it just implies so many things, but it's been a really long time since I've had to buy women's clothes.
Oh yeah, that was great.
That was a wonderful line, and I loved it.
I don't think it really implies that much because the Doctor has been shown to have women's clothes in his wardrobe for his companions.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not. They're.
I don't think that's what it was implying.
Oh yeah,
I don't think that's what that was
As
implying
Clara
at all.
would say, take that as you like. But yeah, I thought it was fun, just in general.
I just don't think it implies as much as they thought they were trying to imply.
As far as the costume itself, it's alright. I don't hate it. I don't love it.
It's growing on me. It's I like all the individual pieces. But the sum is less than the total of its parts.
I liked. I remember Jodie Whittaker saying that she wanted it to be a costume that could be worn by men or women, which is really admirable, I feel.
I liked. Someone pointed out. I can't give credit for this comment because it was just a random comment on Facebook I saw. But someone said it looks like someone who's dressed as a man for years, trying to dress like a woman but not really knowing how, and that makes sense.
That's kind of brilliant, yeah.
I don't know. I love it because like it's not like I said. It's not like you guys said. It's not like the most. Oh, this is striking. This is gorgeous. This is super fashionable. She doesn't have to be fashionable.
No.
She doesn't have to be super fashionable.
I like the bohemian look. It's about time. Every doctor we've gotten in New Who has had like a monocolor outfit, or at least just a very minimalist, bare essential costume. Especially 12. He mixed it up a lot, but when his very first costume was all just black and blue.
Right.
This is the most colorful outfit we've had since before the new show.
They don't
I
quite
think-
go 6 with it, but it's the closest we get, and I do kind of dig it, honestly.
I think it's really fun because I think it matches her personality really well because like she goes and she immediately builds her sonic side point. She doesn't brag about it. She just does it. I loved it so much. She was not, I'm ever so good at science, or she just goes and she's like, okay, get to work. And so I feel like she took the same approach to thrifting, basically.
There's a really great moment where she finishes building the Sonic. It's the comic timing of this scene is perfect. She brings out the Sonic, is like, hey, look, and she turns it on and it immediately sparks. And she's like, it's probably okay.
I feel that, but yeah, no, I feel like she did like a really good job. I think they did a good job having that be her scene because she kind of just gets to work and she's like, she's used to wearing pants. She picked something a little bit brighter, and she just picked something fun and like super practical because
I love that.
Also,
pockets galore.
Yeah.
And
Okay, I just want to say
Those pockets are deep pockets.
I just want to say I always imagined what I would design a Doctor Incarnation costume to be like, and I would go like different time eras, like modern day pants, retro Edwardian shirt and coat, and then like a future cyberpunk coat with a built-in hood. And that coat is basically what I imagined. Maybe not as cyberpunk as I pictured it, but the shape is exactly what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Something I would like to point
tickled
out.
me.
Sorry. Something this just popped into my head. Something that I really loved was the Doctor comes out and Yasmin and Ryan are clearly not all that. Don't dig the outfit, and they're like, "That's what you're going with." She's like, "Yeah," and like, just doesn't care. Your opinion does not matter to her. And I kind of respect that a lot. Like, that's just kind of her.
I mean, that's them, though, because, like, bow tie, as Amy said.
The Doctor's always smart.
Yeah, the Doctor's like, I'm going to do what I want, so, like...
So I think now we are officially on the topic of the 13th Doctor and her personality. So, I love her. I think she is a Doctor. And I mean that as in she is no different from any other actor who's played the Doctor. She's nailed the character. She's nailed the role perfectly.
The performance was great. The writing could get a little bit less. I don't know. There was one particular moment that I feel was supposed to be really epic, and I feel like the writing and the score let her down in that case, and it was her big "I am the Doctor" speech.
Yeah, it wasn't as impressive as Eleven's in the.
It wasn't as impressive as "I'm the Doctor" basically run.
I did like that they built up to it. That they used the amnesia to put it off for a little while,
It's
so
on
that
the tip
it could.
of my. What's that?
Tongue.
Yeah. And getting back to that scene, I that's how they should have handled the Doctor finding out she's a woman. Oh, does it suit me? And then back to business. It's like.
Oh right, I remember now. I'm sorry. Half an hour ago, I was a gray-haired Scotsman. Also, did it really take her half an hour to fall all that way?
I think she was just rounding time. Confused.
Also, so, like you said, maybe not as epic as Matt's "I'm the Doctor," basically, But let's see.
They built it off.
Didn't really have one.
No, he didn't really.
You know what?
His big moment was. I feel like this is a really underappreciated thing. Was when he was wearing a face that was obviously out of Universal Rubber face, but it was actually a real face, and they actually designed the face to look like Matt Smith's face, and he just pulls it off, and he's like, "Hey, I'm the Doctor."
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
like that was his big moment.
I like the way, his was more subtle in building. I think his actual first proper "I'm the Doctor" speech was in Flatline, and I dubbed the Boneless. So, like...
one of the best episodes of Doctor Who in
I love
the
that
history
one,
of
yeah.
ever. Don't at me.
I love with what Jodie, like, it's not as epic. I don't think it was trying to necessarily compete.
No.
Because, like,
I don't think
there were
so. I
so
just felt
many
that-
moments
I just
throughout that just...
I'm sorry.
No, you're
Continue.
great. There's so many moments throughout that just lead up to just show you who she is.
Yeah, they build up to it, and I
did
felt
build
the
up to
payoff
it.
was great for the build up that they did.
My main issue is that moment kind of fell flat to me. I felt like it was going for some sort of epic, and it was just the score was really quiet and understated, which I didn't feel fit the moment. B, it just wasn't that well written. I felt that the line that they picked for her wasn't really that good.
I'm gonna reconsider on rewatch, but I don't think the score not being epic is a problem, because that was Murray's thing. Like, he always liked to be very obvious with the score, and a lot of people don't like that. I personally loved it. Like I said, I'm an orchestra nerd, so
Orchestra nerd also.
but I like the change. I like the way that he hits different notes and he does different things with the emotional notes of the show.
It wasn't that the music wasn't epic to me. It's just that the music... Well, it is that the music wasn't epic. It just... I don't know how else to parse this. I just felt the music didn't fit the moment they were going for, and neither did the line.
All I know is that, for me, the moment where she's the Doctor comes much, much, much before. So it's actually when she is in the warehouse with them all, and she's apologizing to them. And I thought that was hilarious because, first of all, women apologize a lot. I apologize a lot. Like, a lot. to the point where my old boss was like, you owe me a nickel for every time you apologize. And when I left, she was like, you owe me $35,000. And I was like, I know. But I really like the way it was used. I know probably several women will pick up on that and be like, I don't like that she's apologizing so much. But the way it was done, I think, was perfect because first of all, Tin apologized, but I'm
so sorry.
I was comparing it to Tin's, and hers just when she apologized for, I'm really sorry that you're going through this. I'm sorry that I don't exactly know what's going on. I'm sorry, it feels so much. It felt like it had so much more heart, like. 10, I feel like, did it to make blows easier or to, as like a segue into whatever he had to do, whereas I feel like Jodie really felt it, like, all the way down. She really was. She didn't even know, she couldn't even remember who she was at the point, but all she knew is that she had to fix it and that she saw she wasn't at her full capacity. And I don't know, I really loved it. And,
I really liked her dialogue about trying to remember who she is and building that. I liked that a bit more than Tennant's speech in the cigarette ship where he's saying he doesn't know who he is because he doesn't know what his character traits are going to be this incarnation.
And then it turned out that he was going to be a massive
douche, yeah.
And the thing is, she knows who she is. She just couldn't remember her name.
Yeah.
Which is the hilarious part because she knows exactly who she is. Just like, we will always, we're going to help. That's I know who that's who I am.
But
I just don't remember it.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
But Time Lords put a lot more significance on name than humans do. I like that as cultural affectation because they choose their names for themselves, and it's like a promise that you make to yourself.
So she says she knows her name, and she doesn't remember it because knowing something is different from being able to like do a recall or something.
Yeah.
Like, so she knows
she remembers
it's in
the promise.
her soul.
She remembers the promise, and that's
she just can't remember the exact word.
Right. Yeah. So.
Never cruel or cowardly.
Yeah, I love her.
So I think her incarnation is going to be one of the more bubbly and energetic ones, a la Tennant, but less on the arrogant side.
I definitely got I got flashes of 11 from her personally, which I don't have a problem
little
with.
less doddering though, because 11 was like an old man in a young man's body, in the way his like he's just kind of easily confused or distracted. She's got a bit more of a laser focus.
I personally didn't get much Tennant from her, but I'm talking about
in terms of energy levels.
I didn't get much Tennant from her, but that's mainly because I liked her. Don't at me.
Oh man, but no,
I'm sorry, guys. I love David Tennant, but 10 is my least favorite Doctor. Don't at me.
But no, I don't. I know people. A lot of people are saying they get David. A lot of people are saying they get Matt. But I think she's just completed herself because. I don't think she's derivative. I'm sorry if it came across that way. I get.
But every Doctor has to hit their own different levels of the same character beats or the same beats for this character because they are playing the same person, the same character. They all have traits in common. The individual actor just highlights the ones that they want and downplays the ones that they don't want.
I kind of felt that it was the perfect way of. I felt like she was making good on the promise that Capaldi made to himself before he.
I agree.
Agreed.
I completely agree. I was literally just thinking that.
Like that's exactly what this character is now.
Laugh hard, run fast, be kind, which is my new motto in life nowadays.
Like that's a really good way of continuing on the theme of Moffat's run and showing respect for what came before, and that's beautiful now that I think about it.
Most Doctors are like the answer to the previous incarnation. That's just kind of how the character naturally evolves. So yeah, it makes sense that after being kind of a more of a darker, edgier Doctor who had to relearn how to be positive and kind, that's what he would focus on in their change, and the next incarnation would have those attributes highlighted.
So a lot of people were saying that that Capaldi was so grumpy and so
Well,
and all of these things.
the
but-
Doctor had just come out of a 600-year war, so it made sense for his Doctor, that incarnation, to be a lot more detached and a lot harder to focus on the individual instead of the big picture.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, well, yeah, but specifically, I think
Capaldi is
11
my second favorite, I will say.
Capaldi,
my favorite.
He's my favorite. But yeah, but yeah, no, I think.
Can I have a high five too?
Yeah. I think because 11, he was originally my favorite, because I'm very much like him, but like in guys, but like 10 would like mask his angst with you
They
know,
overdid it with the angst with 10.
yeah. But
I consider
11
him the
would,
Twilight Doctor.
yeah. I love him. I love him. Like, but
I love
yeah.
David Tennant.
But no, and 11 would hide his darkness with flightiness, whereas like I feel like I hide my angst with flightiness.
The man who regrets and the man who forgets.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
11 was so dark. The thing is, everyone like sees 11 as bubbles and sunshine, but 11 is really dark, and he had some serious problems. So when he
was a bit
regenerated,
more of a layered incarnation.
oh,
of
he
David
was
Tennant's.
great. He was great.
11 is beautiful.
But-
I love him. I
When
love
he
you, Matt.
regenerated, I feel like I think him regenerating to Capaldi was 12 was taking responsibility for 11's actions and taking responsibility for him as a character,
See, yeah,
and saying that he wanted to do better. So when he worked all the way to that point, everyone's like, "You're regenerating. I'm so tired of like, why are you making him say I don't want to go?" Like David's doctor wasn't saying I don't want to go because he was saying I don't want to go because
He had vanity
you
issues.
can't. He did, but I can't fault him for it because like I do still feel for him every time. But 12 did a lot of work, and he just didn't want to have to start over again.
Yeah, that
and
was
he
that was
focused really hard on that, which is where Jodie comes out, and she is so like 9 is angsty for perfectly good reason.
Yeah.
10, 11, like, and then 12 worked through this all, and Jodie is like. She is the final realization of like,
She's the
hey,
doctor who-
I've worked on myself. I've done
she's
the work.
Doctor, like, not 9, 10, 11, and 12 were the angst period, and
Mhm.
she's the first incarnation of the Doctor who doesn't need the angst, who's
I
worked
think
past it.
She's kind of like
She's
the
gone to
Doctor they all
therapy.
wanted to be.
She's gone to therapy. She's gone to therapy, and I think this new series is going to be the
So-
biggest advocate
so
for please go to therapy
seasons-
because you can be
seasons-
her.
Series 1 through 10 were the therapy years. Like, that was
But, like,
1100
12
years.
The grunge period.
But, yeah, like series, but
It's
series
1100
8
years
through 10
of
was
therapy.
specifically like he went in hard on therapy. He went in so hard on therapy, specifically, and I think he did a lot of concentration after Clara and with but he did the work. He did the work. He was there. He did it, and then he laser focused, and here we are, and she's awesome.
Well, yeah, I think that's what they were
Like,
going
that's
for.
a really good interpretation of this, is that she is the first incarnation of the Doctor without any of this angst, and with,
Well,
like,
she's
who's
also
worked past it.
she's also the incarnation of the Doctor who doesn't have the burden of Gallifrey hanging over her shoulders anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And you know,
Like, that was, Series 8's strongest point was that question of the Doctor wondering if he's a good person, and, like,
Yeah, people are like,
That-
oh, that's tedious.
my-
No, you have to work through that.
my interpretation of that was basically he'd been living with the guilt of Gallifrey for so long, and 12 was like, I can actually start thinking of myself as a good person again, but do I deserve it? And
I don't even think all of that Am I a Good Man is tied up in Gallifrey, because he's done plenty of things around the universe.
well, Gallifrey was
Yeah.
the big elephant in the room
Mhm.
for the character since the show rebooted.
like I felt that like that was a big criticism of Capaldi that I never understood, was like, Day of the Doctor should have fixed this, so this question should be answered definitively yes, but like he's been carrying around this guilt for so long, and you expect him to get over this in one episode.
Yeah, no,
I'm sorry,
it doesn't
but no.
it doesn't work that way.
It does not work that way. So 12 was basically, I didn't do this terrible thing that I thought I did. Where do I go from here? How do can I forgive myself? Am I too far gone? And it was beautifully tragic, and I loved it. And like the fact that he worked through it was beautiful. And like, yeah, Jodie is the result of that. And it's this is Yeah, I hadn't thought of that interpretation, but it's perfect. It fits perfectly.
Jodie stands on the shoulders of what came before, but also does her own thing, and I think that's brilliant.
It was
I think that's
Capaldi's
great.
privilege to light her flame.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So I
That
think
was a Day of the Doctor reference.
Yes, we
We
got it.
understood that reference.
I understood that reference.
There you go.
Wait, hang on.
Oh, yes.
I understood that reference.
Yeah, yeah.
He's Captain America. I understood that reference. Okay, I think, he said off camera, that we've said everything we wanted to say tonight. Does anybody have any final thoughts?
Good episode. Look forward to see where it's going. It's coming off the shoulders of my two favorite Doctor Regeneration episodes, so it gets third in that place. But it's a much better episode than the Christmas Invasion, so there's that. But really, really, really good. Really strong start. Really love the companions. Really love the Doctor. Really love the new idea of their new take on story arcs, and I mean maybe they've already found the TARDIS, but
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see before we can really judge Chibnall as a showrunner, because you can't gauge this off of one episode. But this first episode showed a lot of promise, and it's got us all really excited for what's to come.
I still haven't forgiven you for Cyberwoman, Chris.
Oh, no one has.
Yeah, no. I still have my doubts, but you know, I'm not going to be all doom and gloom.
Which I was gonna say. Is,
I want the show to be good.
I think we all do. Yeah.
All
Don't
right.
be like these assholes. Watch the end credits theme, because the new theme is great.
It wouldn't have been a problem if they made it available for online streaming.
This is
for
only the
pay on
second
day
time
of.
in history that Doctor Who hasn't had opening credits.
What was the first time?
The found footage episode.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah. Huh. I never noticed I didn't have the credits. Huh. Okay then. Live long and prosper.
Yeah, that's his fandom.
Ooh-wee-oo. Ooh.